Hotch Potch Launch Party Part 2.
Next up, we have Siamak Bosuji, who will read an excerpt from his story entitled The Bridge.
All right, thank you. The bridge. Somebody had to build a bridge for the poets to cross it. Somebody had to do that first. And then they could know that any poems that came out of it, written or unwritten, had its building as their source. Babak Tahavi crossed over the Montlake Bridge and told himself that the poets who wrote of a bridge were always recognizing the engineer who built it, whether they knew it or not. They might not put it in the introduction to their book of poems. They might not say that along with appreciating the woman or the man who inspired their poetry, they also owed a debt of gratitude to the civil engineer who designed the bridge where they stood and felt the vast possibility of what their words could do. It was all right. It was not a matter of acclaim. There was still a line connecting the poets to the engineers, and it was all right if he was the only one who saw it. He watched a boat pass under the bridge, and he felt very foolish as he wondered if any of his classmates in construction materials were thinking about that. He couldn't imagine it. If there was even one who felt similarly, he'd know there was truth in it, but he couldn't imagine who. All right, he thought, never mind. Be the kind of engineer who builds a bridge that the poets are inspired to cross. They might not put it in the introduction of their books, but you'll know. It was the only way to think about it when your mother and father, who loved poetry, who attended the Persian Poetry Circle every other Friday at Mr. Nazemi's house, told you that you were making their dreams come true by becoming an engineer. They loved poetry, but not as something their son should do. All these poets that they gathered at Mr. Nazemi's house every other Friday to read, did they disappoint their parents when they were young? Did they disappoint them and then proceed to endure that disappointment, each in their own way? Babak wondered what his way would be. It would be quiet, he thought, and undemonstrative. He wouldn't make a big show of it. His poems wouldn't be asking their forgiveness, but they wouldn't be making an enemy out of their disappointment either. Thanks.
It's beautiful. Thank you so much. I appreciate the contemplative aspect of this very visual piece. I think you just got that with such sensitivity and grace. So thank you.
Yeah, thanks, C-Mac. And I know that bridge because I lived in Seattle for many, many years. So I was picturing that. That's great. That's great. We're going to take a quick pause for a couple questions, the icebreaker questions, just for kicks for the group.
So what we're going to do is we're going to ask for 3 volunteers for each question. And the hope is that somebody will volunteer. And if it doesn't, nobody volunteers, then we will just name people. So we don't want to be those kinds of MCs. So the first question is, and if you get stuck, if it doesn't appeal to you, you can pass. So the first question we came up with is, what fictional character would you most want to go out to lunch with and why? And actually, Marco, I'm going to ask for you to call on people because I'm having a little bit of a recording issue. So if you don't mind.
Okay, and I know who the people are, so I've got names if nobody volunteers.
Oh, it looks like Ibrahim.
Oh, yay, Ibrahim.
All right, so I don't know how many of us have read Half of a Yellow Sun by Chimamanda Ngozi Adichie. There's this mystery that surrounds the book because there's a character that no one knows where she is or what happened to her. Her name is Kainini. I'd like to go on a date with her so that we can sit down and talk about what's been going on,
Yes, find out the mystery, right?
Yeah.
That's a good one. Okay. Anybody else? Your fictional character that you're going to have lunch with? Yes, Ayumi.
So when I was little, I lived in a town with no library, no bookstore, no nothing. But my mother took in extra ironing and cleaned the church so that she could put us in a book club. And when I was 6, this book came, David and the Phoenix. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Written in 1957. And it's a totally magical book. I want to go with the Phoenix. I want to ride on his back, and I'll fly around and meet griffins and banshees. And the lunch we'll have is a few minutes before his 500th birthday, when he goes into the funeral pyre and becomes a new bird again. So that's what I want to do.
Very cool. Thank you, Ayumi. I think, wait, are those little hands mean that you have your hands up to answer? Okay, I'm getting with the program here. I'm sorry, is that, I think Meg was up. Okay, Meg's up.
Sure. I would pick Aslan. I think that's how you pronounce it. In The Lion,
Yeah.
the Witch, and the Wardrobe. Basically, because I always viewed him as God, or Jesus or somebody, whoever. Somebody had a lot of power. And basically just would like to ask, what I'm supposed to do with my life. That's all.
Oh, that's a good one. Having sandwiches and drinks with Aslam. Yeah. And it is, yeah, it's like C.S. Lewis's God for sure. God
Yeah.
character.
Yeah.
Well, we got 3, and the 3 contributing editors who were going to get called on escaped. So
The second, right?
we've got more. And I also have people to call on if you don't volunteer. So I'm going to get you.
Well, though.
What is the weirdest food you've ever eaten?
And it doesn't have to be like, it can be weird like spam. It doesn't have to.
It can be weird for whatever your definition of weird is.
Hey, Marco, you got to answer that one.
Okay, I will answer. I will start this off. I wish I could post the video of me doing it because I actually have a video, but in a very dusty bus stop on a Cambodian highway between way up past Phnom Penh in the middle of, well, something nowhere, I ate a spider, a wok roasted spider that was literally, I'm not exaggerating, it was about this big. It was as big as my hand. Because how often do you get a chance to eat a wok roasted spider? And this crazy Canadian girl took a video of me eating it. So whenever anybody doubts me, I can show a video of me eating this gigantic spicy roasted spider. The legs are better than the squishy body part. Okay.
Can you compare it to something like chicken? Like how did
it does not, it don't taste like no kind of chicken. It tastes like bug. So we need to, who's next? Somebody wave their hands.
Aaron's had his hand up.
Oh, good. Yeah, Aaron.
Yeah, so Gail and I were talking about this question earlier, and it's, it's very sort of potentially culturally myopic, right? But and I think about like often like the things that I eat that I take for granted that are perfectly fine, like cheese, which is rotten milk. But here's mine. Mine is tempeh, which I'm pretty sure is just like moldy soybeans. I was a vegetarian for a long time. I ate a lot of like weird vegetarian stuff, and that was something I could never ever get with.
Yeah. Tempeh and what's the other stuff? Seitan or seitan?
Yeah.
Okay,
It's all about the same.
one more brave soul, or I'm going to call on somebody.
One more weird food from the team. Anyone from our team?
Done.
I think
Okay, Jeff is up.
Oh, Jeff hasn't. Yeah.
Jeff, I got his name right here. Jeff was the unlucky victim.
Oh, wow. Yeah, so I would say those little alcohol bottle shaped chocolates that have a little liquor in them. And it's just weird because you would only get them like once every 10 years when somebody went to Europe and then they flew home, and the gift they would be a box of those little chocolates with liquor inside. And since we were 12, 14, 15, this was our alcohol source. So we, chewed them all down, and then not for another 5 years, right? So like, I wonder, like, where do they even come from? I've never seen anywhere you could buy them. And I sort of want them in my life. They're fun.
I remember those. We used to swipe them, and you had to make sure you got the foil out of the way before you got that slobbery the liquor part. Yeah, good one.